Now, if I may, I'd like to begin this dialogue with one specific question that is very sensitive, I suppose. Even with the information that you just presented, we do have a history of 2,000 years in which the Jewish rabbis, the whole Jewish religion, has rejected Jesus, has rejected Yeshua as Messiah. So we do have a history for 3,000 years that Yeshua was not accepted as Messiah. Now let's say that we'll say that Jesus is the Messiah, but still the question is, how can a Jewish person believe in this kind of Messiah who's been rejected for 3,000 years? How can a Jew be both a Jew and a Christian? Isn't that the same thing as saying as I'm an atheistic Christian, or maybe I'm a democratic Republican? Is that not a Jewish Christian? Is that not a contradiction?
Right, so like a hamburger eating vegetarian.
Exactly.
Right, okay. First, let me just tell you a quick little joke story. Is that okay? There was, back in the days when the Catholic Church had a ban on eating meat on Friday, there was a Jewish guy that lived in a Catholic community that every Friday afternoon would cook up an extraordinary steak at his barbecue out in the backyard, and the smell of that would just kind of waft its way through the whole community. And it was just very tough on these very devout Catholics that were not eating meat, and they really struggled with it. So they said to the priest, "You've got to do something. You must do something about this." So over a period of time, he began to interact with this Jewish guy, and lo and behold, he converted, was baptized, and started to eat fish on Friday, and there was peace in the community. And some weeks later, a couple months later, smell of steak again. So they call the priest. He goes running over there, and this guy's cooking up a nice juicy red steak. And the priest comes to him and says, "What are you doing here? You can't have steak." He said, "That's not steak, that's fish." He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "That's steak." He said, No. That's not steak, that's fish." He said, "Are you out of your mind? Look, it's red, that's steak." He said, No. He said, "I learned that from you." He said, "That's not steak, it's fish." He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Remember a few weeks back, you brought me over to the water there and you sprinkled water on me and you said to me, you're no longer a Jew, you're a Christian?" He said, "Remember that?" He said, "Well, I took the steak over to the sink the other day and I sprinkled some water on it and I said, you're no longer a steak, you're a fish." Well, here's the bottom line. To speak about being a Jew and a Christian proceeds from some basic misconceptions. Most of you folks, I imagine, are university students here, the esteemed and widely praised USC, although you fell a little short to Texas recently. But sorry, won't mention it. I'm a New Yorker, so it didn't matter to me. So let me just ask this. The word Christian, how many times does that occur in the New Testament? Take a stab. I mean, we're talking about the New Testament, right? How many times does the word Christian occur in the New Testament? Take a guess.
One.
How many?
I said one.
You said one? You actually said one? You think it's only one in the entire New Testament? Okay.
Being a little crazy.
Yeah, being a little crazy. All right.
Two.
Two. You guys are quite extreme. 0? Come on. Anybody have a different guess? Come on, Christian. I mean, this is 5. All right, okay, I don't want to belabor this. It's actually 3 times. 3. So good job, guys. 3 times. Well done, USC. Okay. It occurs in Acts 11, Acts 26, and 1 Peter 4. And from the best understanding we have from historians, it was originally a derogative, a denigrating phrase. Excuse me. It was derogatory, and it was meant to mock them. In fact, some of them didn't. Once the term Christos came into the primarily Greek Gentile world, it became more of a name to them. It didn't mean Mashiach, Messiah, anointed one to them. It became primarily just a term, like a name. So they began to understand it as such. Some even thought the name was Christos. They didn't even, Christos, they didn't even have it right. So was it Christian? There was just followers of Christ, these Christ ones. It would be like if I started some group and people derogatorily referred to my followers as Brownites, okay? That's all it was. That's why in 1 Peter 4, it says that if you suffer on account of that name, don't be ashamed. So my point is that this was not a different religion, a different faith. This is now the Christian faith with various denominations and cathedrals. No, this was just a Jewish movement where these people claimed that their leader was Messiah. Just as many Lubavitchers, up to the death of their Rebbe and then thereafter, many of them believed that he was the Messiah, but they remained a group within Judaism. So the question is, can someone be Jewish and believe that Jesus is the Jewish Messiah? The most important answer is, first, you're Jewish whether you believe in him or not. The question is, what kind of Jew are you? The second thing is, if he is the prophesied Messiah, then the best Jews are the ones who acknowledge that. Then the Jews who are most loyal to God are the ones that acknowledge that. Our terminology to say someone is a Jewish Christian has become somewhat ambiguous and confusing, or a Hebrew Christian. That's why I'll often refer to myself as a Messianic Jew, just to make more plain what we believe. So the issue is not can you be Jewish and Christian. The question is, what's the biblical definition of Christian, A, and B, who is the Messiah?